My name is Mira Lawson, and the day I received my sister's wedding invitation was the same day I signed a $40 million partnership deal. You'd think that contrast would make me laugh. It didn't. It made something old and bitter rise in my chest, something I thought I'd buried a decade ago. The envelope arrived on a Wednesday morning, slipped under my office door by an intern who had no idea that he was dropping a live wire into my life. I recognized the handwriting instantly, my mother's flawless cursive, the kind she used only for holidays and announcements meant to impress people. I almost didn't open it. Almost. Inside was a white gold-trimmed card with my sister's name splashed across it like a headline, Ava Lawson and Dylan Morris. Request the honor of your presence. Presence. Funny word, considering they'd spent years pretending I didn't exist. I stared at the invitation, remembering the last time I stood in a room with my family. I was 18, humiliated in front of relatives, told I wasn't worth investing in, told that I should learn independence because I wasn't as smart, pretty, or promising as Ava. That night, I walked out of the Lawson household and never looked back. But here they were 9 years later, welcoming me to a ceremony dripping in wealth and performance. I should have thrown the invitation away. Instead, I sat down at my desk, the city skyline glowing behind me, and I felt something shift, slow, quiet, and dangerous. Why invite the daughter they abandoned? Why now? And why did the printed title under Ava's name say Marketing Director at Pharma North, a role I knew she wasn't qualified for? The past had found me again, and this time I wasn't the same girl they chased out. The night my life split in two didn't happen at a wedding or a boardroom table. It happened at a dinner table covered with cheap plastic flowers, and my father's disappointment. I was 18, clutching the acceptance letter to Westbridge University like it was oxygen. My hands shook when I showed it to them. I got in, I whispered, trying to keep my voice steady. Computer science. They said my project ranked in the top 1%. For a moment, the room went quiet. I thought stupidly that they might be proud. Then my father laughed. Not a warm laugh, a sharp, slicing one. Mira, he said, shaking his head. This doesn't mean anything. Anyone can get into Westbridge if they try hard enough. My mother chimed in before I could respond. And even if it did matter, we're not paying for it. You're not suited for that kind of career. Suited as if potential had a dress code I failed to meet. My sister Ava sat across from me, twirling her hair, pretending not to smirk. She'd barely scraped by in high school yet when she announced she wanted to study luxury fashion marketing. My parents opened the entire college fund without blinking. But we have the savings, I said quietly. The one you set aside? For Ava, my mother corrected sharply. She has real potential. You should focus on being independent instead of chasing things that will embarrass you later. Embarrass them, that's what she meant. My throat tightened. So, you're refusing, just like that? My father shrugged. Life is tough, Mira. Learn to stand on your own feet. The humiliation was so thick it felt like the air was suffocating me. I realized then that I could spend the rest of my life begging for validation from people who never intended to give it. Or I could leave. That night I packed a single suitcase and walked out of the Lawson house. No one tried to stop me. Not even Ava. Independence wasn't glamorous. It wasn't empowering, not at first. It was survival. I rented a tiny room above a nail salon barely big enough for a mattress and a desk I found on the sidewalk with a free sign taped to it. Every morning at 6 a.m., I took the bus to my job at a diner where I refilled coffee until my wrists ached. After that shift, I stocked shelves at a grocery store until midnight. Then I came home, opened my battered laptop, and taught myself how to code with whatever free tutorials I could find. Some nights the exhaustion hit so hard I fell asleep face first on the keyboard. Other nights panic clawed at my chest, fear that my parents had been right, that I was chasing a future too big for someone like me. But then there were moments, little victories. My first working program. The first time an algorithm clicked. The spark in my chest when I solved something everyone else on the forum struggled with. Code didn't care if I was not the favorite. It didn't care about looks, charm, or family money. It only cared about logic and effort. For the first time, something in the world felt fair. I met Ethan on one of those long nights in the campus library of the community college I scraped enough money to enroll in. He sat across from me with a stack of biomedical textbooks and noticed I'd been coding for 6 straight hours. You either really love that, he said gently, or you're running from something. I looked up startled, maybe both. He smiled, not pitying, not mocking, just seeing me, really seeing me. Over time, he became my anchor in a world I was rebuilding from scratch. He helped me apply for internships, reviewed my projects, pushed me to aim higher instead of shrinking myself. And slowly, painfully, beautifully, I started to believe I could be more than the girl my parents abandoned. My rise wasn't sudden. It was a slow, relentless climb that most people never noticed, until I was already too far ahead to ignore. After 2 years of juggling jobs and community college classes, I finally earned a small scholarship to transfer into a real university. It wasn't Westbridge, not the dream I once clung to. But it was mine, earned, not gifted. My internship came next. With Ethan's help, I landed a position at HealthSync Technologies, a mid-sized medical software company desperate for young developers who weren't afraid of messy code bases and long hours. I was both. I took on every bug ticket, stayed late, devoured documentation like it held the secrets to the universe. 3 months in, my supervisor stopped by my desk and leaned over my shoulder as I debugged a patient monitoring module. "You did this?" he asked, scanning the solution I'd built. I nodded, suddenly anxious. He whistled softly. "You just reduced our error rate by 12%. Do you know how long our senior team has been trying to fix this?" I didn't, but I knew it mattered. Word spread. Little by little, people began asking for me by name, for my ideas, my code, my brain. By year 4, I co-authored a proposal for a new system to prevent medication errors. It caught the attention of Dr. Simone Rivera, a formidable CEO known for turning struggling startups into industry titans. She didn't praise easily, but she offered me something no one else ever had, a chance to build something of my own. "Come work with me," she said. "I'll back you. Whatever you create next, I want to be part of it." I was terrified, but I said yes. That decision birthed Vital Track, the health tech startup that would change everything. My career, my future, the way people spoke my name. My parents still had no idea, but the world was starting to learn who Mira Lawson was. The day the wedding invitation arrived, Vital Track had just secured regulatory approval for our flagship device, a wearable that detected early signs of respiratory failure. Investors called non-stop. Journalists emailed. Reporters camped outside the building. It felt like the universe had finally opened a door I'd spent years pounding on. So when my assistant walked in holding a white envelope with floral embossing, I barely looked up. "Looks personal," she said. I opened it absent-mindedly. Then I saw the names. Ava Lawson and Dylan Morris. My stomach tightened. I hadn't heard my sister's name spoken aloud in years. Seeing it printed so elegantly made something bitter flare in my chest. But it wasn't the wedding announcement that froze me. It was the job title underneath Ava's name, Marketing Director, Pharma North Industries. Pharma North. A multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical conglomerate known for being ruthlessly selective. They didn't hire influencer-level talent like Ava. They hired top-tier strategists with degrees, portfolios, case studies, things Ava never had. I read that line 3 times. There was no universe where my sister earned that position, unless she used someone else's credibility, unless she lied, unless she leveraged my name. The realization struck me with a cold, sinking weight. My parents hadn't sent the invitation out of love. They wanted to parade me around, to use my status as the successful older sister to polish Ava's image in front of her wealthy future in-laws. A bitter laugh escaped me. After a decade of silence, they needed me again. I stood by the window, watching the skyline glow with the same determination that kept me alive at 18. I held the invitation between my fingers, feeling the cardstock stiffen as it dried from my grip. Let them think they were pulling me back. They had no idea I wasn't walking into a celebration. I was walking into the truth. I hadn't planned to attend the wedding. I told myself it was pointless, that I didn't need to confront the past. But as the date approached, the unopened invitation felt heavier and heavier, like something insisting I face it. So I went. The vineyard venue was exactly the kind of place my parents used to gush over while reminding me I'd never belong among people like that. Stepping onto the cobblestone path, everything seemed designed to impress. I wasn't. Inside, chandeliers glittered above elegantly dressed guests. My parents noticed me immediately. My mother's smile was tight, brittle. "Mira, you actually came." I was invited. My father gave me a quick clinical once-over. "At least you cleaned up nicely. 9 years, same tone?" Then Dylan Morris, the groom, approached, confident, polished, with no reason to notice me, until he saw my name tag. "You're Mira Lawson." As in Vital Track Lawson. My mother froze. My father's hand tightened. Ava rushed in before he could continue, grabbing his arm. Dylan, she just tinkers with computers. Don't bother. He ignored her. Pharma North has been trying to reach VitalTrack for months, he said. Why didn't you tell me, Ava? You said you handled the outreach, guests murmured. Ava went pale. I must have forgotten, but Dylan wasn't looking at her anymore. He was looking at me as if a missing piece had finally clicked into place. The more Dylan spoke, the quieter the room grew. Guests leaned in, sensing the Lawson family facade starting to crack. Mira, he said, your wearable tech is about to become industry standard. Pharma North has been preparing a proposal for months. Behind him, Ava's composure slipped. My father stepped forward with a forced laugh. You're mistaken. Mira works at some small tech job. I'm the CEO of VitalTrack, I said. A suffocating silence followed. My mother stared at me. You started a company? I built one. Dylan turned to Ava. You told me you developed the pitch VitalTrack showed at MedTech Summit. Ava faltered. I contributed. She stole my presentation, I said. She sent it to you without understanding it. Gasps rippled through the room. Ava looked to our parents, Mom, Dad, but they were speechless. Dylan's voice hardened. You lied to me. Your role, your achievements, all of it. Ava trembled. I just wanted to seem successful. I wanted to be enough for you. You wanted to be her, he said, pointing at me. She flinched. My father tried again. Dylan, don't let this ruin the wedding. We can fix this. No, it's already ruined. He turned to me. Mira, I'm sorry. Thank you for the truth. I met his eyes calm. Ava collapsed into a chair. My parents stared at me like I was a stranger, and for the first time I didn't feel small. I felt free. The music had stopped. Guests no longer pretended to mingle. All eyes were on me, on Ava, on the Lawson family illusion cracking apart. A wedding meant to unite two families was unraveling in slow public humiliation. I could have walked out. But after years of silence and invisible bruises, I wasn't leaving before the truth was spoken. So I stepped forward. Ava didn't forget the outreach emails I said. She couldn't. She stole my pitch and pretended it was hers. Gasps echoed. My father barked, Mira, that's enough. No, I replied. Enough was when you dismissed me at 18, when you said I wasn't worth investing in, but Ava was. My mother tried to speak, then faltered, realizing nothing could undo what they'd done. Dylan stared at Ava like she was a stranger. You built our relationship on lies. Ava sobbed, reaching for him, but he stepped back. Before he could respond, a voice cut through the room, Dr. Simone Rivera. I wasn't going to speak, she said, but honesty seems overdue. All eyes turned. VitalTrack's success, the technology Pharma North wants, is the work of one woman. She looked at me. Mira Lawson isn't just a CEO. She's the mind behind the innovation you're all talking about. Whispers erupted. Ava cried harder. My father's expression collapsed. Dr. Rivera added, If anyone still doubts her value, your ignorance is the problem, not hers. I stood steady as the lies that once buried me crumbled around us. For the first time, I wasn't the overlooked daughter. I was the storm. The wedding unraveled long after the truth came out. Guests slipped away in clusters, whispering as Dylan walked out on Ava. My parents followed him, scrambling to protect whatever was left of their image, but appearances can't save something already rotten. I stepped outside, letting the cold air cool the heat under my skin. For the first time in years, I could breathe without feeling someone's thumb on my throat. The vineyard lay quiet behind me when Dr. Rivera approached. You handled yourself well, she said. I didn't come to prove anything. You didn't, she replied. You simply revealed what was already true. The rage in me finally eased, replaced by something gentler relief. The kind that comes only after surviving what once threatened to drown you. As I headed toward my car, Ava's voice cracked behind me. Mira, please. I stopped. Tell them it's not true. Fix this. You're ruining my life. I turned. She looked like a child who'd lost her script. Ava, I said quietly, I didn't ruin anything. I just stopped carrying your lies. She shook our parents behind her, silent, hollow, stunned. I walked past them not out of cruelty, but because I'd spent too many years standing still for people who never once stood for me. Outside the gates, Ethan waited in the car. I sank into the seat, and he took my hand without a word. For the first time, everything inside me settled. The girl they called worthless built an empire. The daughter they refused to invest in became someone they could never reach. As we drove away and the vineyard lights faded behind us, I realized something simple and freeing. I never needed their approval. I only needed permission to rise, and I finally gave it to myself.